What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another weekly update. So, last week we left off with some good answers moving forward. We had core CPI, we had FOMC meeting notes, and we also had bank earnings, all which have pointed good as far as the market goes. I know a lot of the sentiment as far as the economy is a hot mess, but the market, it really doesn't matter. Ultimately, what matters is how earnings, how the numbers are looking. If the Fed is going to taper, which they originally said November, now they're saying kind of December. I think possibly that may even be pushed back. And we'll have to see. I know they're trying to aim to at least cut back some assets at the before the end of year close. We'll see how that goes. I think they're going to try to push it all the way to December if possible. Debt ceiling stuff is still an issue. I'm still trying to get all that stuff through as well. So we're going to have to see from this point. But ultimately, everything is looking really good and looking to see that we got the green flag for this week. It's going to start this week. This week, we're going to have some big earnings this week. We're going to have Netflix. We're going to have Tesla. We're going to have Snap this week, Verizon, ASML, Intel this week. We've got American Express, United. There's a lot of really heavy hitters that are going to start essentially setting the tone, and that ultimately will be on Tuesday, starting with Netflix. There's also J&J on Tuesday as well. And then you have Tesla Wednesday, Snap Thursday. Again, these are going to be the biggest hitters this week. Once we start getting numbers in with Netflix and Tesla and Snap, all the rest are going to kind of play suit from that point and really start to run, because the week after that, we got Facebook, Google, Apple, Starbucks, Caterpillar, Boeing. All those are the week right after. So we got 2 solid weeks of some major moves going on. Actually 3 if you want to look deep. There's still some other really good ones on the 3rd week as well, but let's keep it till just next week. Again, things look really good, but again, you have to remember mid-November, we are going to start getting some Fed back. We're going to have the Fed meeting on the 15th. So being said, you have to be mindful of that towards that point. We're just out looking right now. The next week, we're solid. It should be a fantastic week. It's not saying you do need to still manage risk. Being said, we did actually tear up quite a bit this week. The past couple of days, ever since we got FOMC minutes, Thursday and Friday have just been monster days. We have to understand that we're going to see, I could more than bet on the fact that on Monday we're going to have a pullback. I mean, it's some sort of pullback. I'm not saying we're going to bleed all day Monday. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think it's going to correct a little bit in the morning on Monday for positioning going into the rest of the week. I think it's a strong possibility. Tesla ran all the way up until the close of bell on Friday. So being said, this week we do have some other, you're going to have a lot of data numbers coming out. We do have the beige book on Wednesday, which is important, but I don't think it's going to have that big of an impact. We've already got a lot of answers to this point, but that beige book does come out on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so something to be mindful of. Again, and then any other random events that could occur throughout the week, I don't really think there's going to be any other randomness. I'm starting to get into that arena, essentially, where there's not too much until the end of the year, and then we get into Q4 earnings and stuff like that, and then towards that Q4 earnings is when I'm expecting some kind of correction. I don't expect it any time between now and then. Being said, you still have to manage risk. There still can be some kind of black swan or other unforeseen event that could occur. But things are looking good. So for me this week, what I'm planning is a lot of FANG. You got, like I was talking about, you got Tesla going back to all-time highs. I think it's really going to test. There's tons of great news for Tesla. They had Tesla Insurance opening up in December, or opening up in Texas, that came out on Thursday. And then the delivery numbers, everything else is going great for Tesla. The ultimate test is on Tuesday with Netflix, and to see what's going to happen with forward guidance. Forward guidance has essentially been pulling these stocks back. They come out with fantastic earnings, and then their forward guidance essentially tanks them. I want to see if that's going to happen on Tuesday when Netflix, or going to happen on Wednesday with Tesla. With the chip shortages, again, they keep talking about it, but Tesla is still putting out ridiculous numbers. So being said, is that really going to have that much of impact? And seeing if that forward guidance is going to tank the stock. If it does not, then we can see some massive runs, especially things have been tied down. The last earnings, all these stocks, a lot of these stocks did really well, but then their forward guidance was very much unforeseen. And so things just tanked. And so if they come out with brilliant numbers, I think we are going to see a big run this earnings. I think it's going to be massive. But again, we want to see how the reaction is on forward guidance. That's ultimately what's been tanking a lot of these stocks, your Amazons, your Googles, your Teslas, because of forward guidance. It isn't nothing to do with the fact that they blow estimations out of the water. It has nothing to do with that. So that's what we want to ultimately see. This is kind of our testing ground. Again, we'll get a little bit early understanding of what's happening with Netflix, but more so with Tesla because of this chip shortage in the auto industry and that whole tech side innovation. How much is it really going to be impacted by watching Tesla? If Tesla comes out with fantastic numbers and then their forward guidance is good, or it is they come out with forward guidance as far as like chip shortages, and the stock continues to run, that is a good cue to understand that the rest of the earnings are going to be on point and they're going to do very well. Your Googles, your Apples, and everything on the week following. So that's something to keep an eye on this week. So again, I really want to watch Tesla. It's starting to look like the Tesla the past 2 days. It's just been running. So I really want to see a pullback, looking for that first retest of the 20 EMA is what I'm looking at. If we do dip that much, I think on Monday we'll get a big enough dip, but then I think from that point we may not see another dip. So just be mindful of that. Manage risk though. Still always have to manage risk because something can come out, it'll be bad news, bad Elon tweet, and the whole stock could tank. So you have to always keep that in mind. Apple looking great, back over the 50. It's back over all this resistance, which I thought was going to be hard to get over. As long as it's staying over this 50, essentially the 145 mark for Apple, for me, in my mind, it's definitely a win as far as earning goes. So I want to load up on Apple as well. Google, another one. It has had some issues. Them and Facebook have been dealing the social media side of it with the ads and everything, with Apple coming into the ad space. It's kind of been worrisome for Google and Facebook. Ultimately, I don't think it will be because they're their own platform, and it's essentially everybody is within all these different platforms. So I don't think it's really going to be that much of an impact. But being said, Google itself, another big one to be watching, because not this week, but next week we'll have earnings. So Tesla is definitely key there. Again, just as far as forward guidance, although it's all ad revenue, essentially primarily for Google. So that's something to keep in mind how that plays out. So there's a lot of key things we need to be watching this next week to get a kind of insight into what's going to happen the following week. Facebook still taking a lot of heat from that whistleblower. I know Zuckerberg is still taking a lot of heat from a lot of different things, fighting a lot of stuff, but it's holding here. I think it's only a matter of time before it starts breaking up. So I'm really watching to see when that happens. I really wanted to break out of here first before I enter back into this. I know a lot of people are buying puts, but Facebook is too strong. All it's going to take is one good news article saying that everything has been essentially delayed, whatever the case is. If there's any kind of other issues, and reports are saying that it will be delayed, or some kind of positive news with Facebook, you'll definitely see it to start running. And it's been down for so long. It's consolidating very long. It's been wanting to go, but it keeps getting pulled back into this tight range here. So if it does break up or down, just be mindful of that. If it starts selling, I don't think it's going to sell much. But ultimately, I'm looking for this one to go up, especially after Snap. Snap does really well. I'll start looking at Facebook and Google. for the following week. Microsoft, again, good position. It's already almost at all-time highs again, something to keep in mind. Don't play Microsoft a lot, but they normally always kill it. They've been making bigger moves as of late, which over the past couple of years, it was never been known to be a big mover, but definitely in this new market, it's starting to be. Square, another one, especially affected by crypto. Bitcoin is back up to 63,000. So Bitcoin's going to have a massive run this weekend, I believe. That will lead into a lot of other things doing massive, like your coin. Tesla could get some positive. The market in general, I think, will get some positivity out of it, since that's kind of considered the new gold. So being said, I think it's definitely helping pushing the market up in that aspect. So Square, I think, will actually do very good as well. It has earnings 3 weeks away, but something to keep on watch. Roblox had some good news. I don't know what exactly the news that came out. I think it was on CNBC and it was being pumped. So it started making its way back up. Again, something else. I want to watch the wedge break, see if it can actually break this, essentially that 77 mark and hold above that. It's got a lot of resistance to break through. Let's see if we can start making our way back up. That's not one of my primaries. Again, I want to focus on FANG this week. Snap had a nice break here. Looking again for a pullback. As long as it holds above that 76 mark, look for entry there and to start going and retesting all-time highs. It completely obliterated last earnings, so that's something to keep in mind. And I think we'll do the same on this particular earnings. And there, an article came out today actually as well, comparing ads. And I guess Snap essentially destroyed Facebook and YouTube and everything when it came to that side of the social media house. And so just the way they approached the ad space and how much revenue they've been generating from their ads. So definitely one you want to keep on watch. Now the next one, I think UPST is one worth watching. It has been going nuts recently. I really like this one going forward, especially with inflation worries and concerns, and having this auto loan essentially guided by AI is why this one has been running so hot. Coming in earnings is still a ways away. So actually, I want to see if FANG, with the strength of FANG possibly this week, if this actually starts to pull back so the money leaves this to go into some of the other FANG stocks, I'll look for an entry at that point, try to go into earnings for that one. Same with a firm. Want to watch the pullbacks on this, possibly down to the 128 mark. Look for entry there. Going that way into earnings as well. I think a firm is definitely always one to keep on watch. Those two are definitely two of the hotter stocks right now. Amazon had a massive move today. It looks like it's breaking the wedge. We definitely want to watch this on Monday as far as any kind of pullback and holding and getting position in this. Again, one of the ones I think you can buy and essentially hold as long as you get a decent entry. Don't just buy and then not have any kind of risk management and watch it pull back or dump for whatever reason. So we have a massively strong day today. So you would definitely want to keep this one on watch. Shop, one of the ones I definitely like. I am in this one. Trying to swing, essentially have contract covering earnings as well, just towards the end of the month. This one always destroys earnings. It's always had some major price increases on this one as well, up to, I believe, 2K. I have some of the price targets been, so it's got a lot of ways to go. So definitely something you want to watch going forward, especially if Amazon runs as well. Same with SE. I really like SE in the same fashion. It's been testing all-time highs. If we can get a break of all-time highs, essentially around that 360 mark, we could start getting the price discovery and really see how far this thing can go. But I do like the fact that it's leading in both gaming and e-commerce space in their arena. Trying to think what else we have here this week. Nvidia and AMD, same thing. Looking for retest on these. I look for that first bounce off the 20 on the daily. So you're looking essentially at 213. I think a lot of these we're going to get our pullback come Monday, and I think those will be our entries. And again, judging by what's going on, I try to take the earlier ones this week. Your Netflixes, your Teslas, your Snaps, And then right directly after, play continuation of those, and then start looking for next week's. It's kind of the way I look at it, to try to shift into new positions depending on how they do on earnings and forward guidance. If they have continuation, to start looking at what. If they have continuation, to start looking at what other companies are similar in fashion, and trying to essentially take advantage of that running up to their earnings. So Nvidia is one I like. AMD, again, looking for a retest on this one. MU had some massive selling, needs to break the wedge. Airbnb pulling back pretty hard. I think with the strength of back and Fang, you'll probably actually see this start selling off a little bit. It'll be worth watching to perhaps buy the dip going into earnings. I think earnings for this is probably later on in November. Space we got some really bad news about flights being delayed till late next year, I believe. So that being said, it's tanked. Essentially, we're going to let it sit for a while until we figure out what's going on with space. Overstock is one I think you can watch, especially with everything going on with crypto space. They are heavily invested in crypto. So it looks like we're getting a retest. So if we can hold that 76.28 mark, look for entry on that. Push to the essentially 74 mark and possibly break out of this and start heading up higher and testing all-time highs. Coin, massive run again with Bitcoin and everything going on. This is one definitely a watch for a retest at the 200, so the 271 mark. If Bitcoin continues to fly, I don't know if you'll see much of a pullback in this. You might see a brief pullback in this, but ultimately this is one you want to keep on watch for the next couple of weeks, especially with what is going on with crypto. If crypto continues to run, you're going to see the correlation with Coinbase and the strength and momentum in there as well. Moderna had FDA news as far as the rejection or delay of any kind of guidance as far as mandating child vaccines. So it sold off pretty hard towards the end of the day. I'm trying to think anything else. A couple other ones to keep on watch. Wing, I played this last week. Was one of my good runners last week. Looking for a retest here at the 170 mark for possible going to retest all-time highs to the 187 mark. So that's a good one to keep on watch. You also got Chipotle, which Domino's did well, but their guidance wasn't the greatest. But I think Chipotle definitely outbeat Domino's. So being said, I think it's definitely one you want to keep on watch. Again, their earnings is on Thursday. And this video is already getting pretty long. I don't think there's anything else. Again, Fang is the biggest ones you want to watch. Manage risk. And again, really watch and see what's going on with the forward guidance. See if they blow away expectations, and then see what the forward guidance does. If the forward guidance comes out and things are looking good or whatever the case is, see how the market reacts. Even if the forward guidance is good or the forward guidance is bad, you have to see how the market reacts. The market reacts good, that's a very positive sign that will be a very strong earnings. If the guidance is good or bad and the market doesn't like it and starts selling even after a good earnings, that's a telltale sign to watch out, because you're going to start seeing a domino effect in all the other FANG stocks in mid caps and small caps after that point as well. So if you have made it this far, go ahead and smack that like button and subscribe because you are highly dedicated to make it the full 20 and appreciate it. And until next time, guys, I'll see you later.